Hello, I would like to share with you my story of living with and then ridding myself of the diseases Crohn's and colitis. My name is Richard Berkeley, and these videos chronicle my journey to ultimately beat and heal myself of these very diseases. My wish now is to help you or others that suffer from these diseases by letting you know there are ways to heal this disease without surgery or medicine that in the end will not only rid you of these diseases, but improve your overall health tremendously. So thank you for watching. My name is Richard Berkeley, and I've just completed a 30-day water fast, and I have had some rather incredible results. And one of the reasons I'm bringing this sort of roundup video to you so that you can quickly decide if you'd like to have a look at the other 30 or so videos I have on this site. Now, what I've done is I've gone to a facility with the intent of going on a water fast to rid myself of the disease Crohn's colitis. And amazingly enough, this actually worked. And so I'm now Crohn's colitis free and have been so almost 40 days since I left the facility and having ended my water fast. And I can tell you, for you Crohn's colitis sufferers, that when it comes to bowel movements, everything is absolutely perfect. And those of you who do have this disease, I can tell you I know that means a lot more to you than anybody else who's probably listening to this. But just about anybody else who's listening to this actually knows somebody in the family or friend who actually has this disease and suffers from it. And so I want to talk a little bit about what it actually takes to live with this particular disease. And the best way I found to describe it, it's very similar to taking a pot scrubbing pad or a Brillo pad and dragging it through your intestinal tract on a daily basis. And this can last for 5, 6, 10, or 24 hours. When I first landed at the facility on my water fast, I had actually had an outbreak of the Crohn's colitis, or or a flare-up, as we like to call it, or doctors do. And in the first 2 days I was actually at the facility, I had 18 bowel movements on the first day, and 16 on the next, which ended up running itself down to 0, and then absolutely healing itself while I was there. And a lot of this information is going to be available sort of on those other videos, but this is sort of just a very quick roundup. Next thing I want to talk about, for those of you who have followed the video series, is now that I'm back, I feel awesome. And the reason I think I feel so awesome, and something I really didn't anticipate, even though I was feeling very good when I left, was I never realized how much energy this Crohn's colitis was drawing from my system. I thought it was old age or something, that was making me, sluggish and tired and achy. Well, the aches are gone. I'm not sluggish. I'm not tired. In fact, I've been back here doing so many things. I've got 3 brand new businesses I'm starting, and I've been working 8, 10, 12 hours a day, whatever it takes. And I stop when I want to stop, and I go as long as I want to go, and then I go for a walk. And my life has taken a dramatic turn for the better. And quite frankly, it's because I actually have the energy to change what it is I'm doing, or what it is I'm doing, and what it is that I've been wanting to do. And one of the reasons I actually went on this fast was to be able to change my life. And so this has actually accelerated me putting this website up. I wasn't going to do it for maybe 3, 6, 12 months. I'm not actually sure. But I wanted to see sort of where I was and how well I was doing. So good news is I'm doing great. And, I'm kind of ready to get to those next stages. Now, what's going to happen here on the balance of this video, or maybe already there, is you'll look over here and see my compatriot. This is the guy who did the first video prior to me leaving, and this is who I was before I left, and you're going to see certainly a significant difference. But what else is going to happen while I'm here talking to you is I've asked the video editors to take snapshots, more or less of me and or my face as I more or less went through the process. So you'll start to see some of the changes that I went through physically that you can see in great detail as you go through the videos, but I'd like to let you have a quick snapshot at that. Now, some of the next things I guess I want to talk about are the things that I think you need to know significantly if you're interested in doing something like this. And most of these have kind of stood out for me once I got back and reviewed all the videos. And by the way, I apologize for a number of the videos that they're not that good, but quite frankly, there was times where I just had no strength to actually go back and look at them, and I would never do a double take, so it is what it is. But here's some of the real important things. First off, you need to be significantly mentally prepared to do this. About a third of all the people I saw come to that facility, I saw them leave
early on into their treatment because it was too mentally tough to get through and they really weren't prepared. So if you're going to do something like this, make sure that you've spent the time to prepare yourself, you've planned, you've talked to your family, and you really got yourself ready to take this on. Next thing you want to, I guess, kind of know is your body is going to decide what it heals and when it heals it. When I first got there, it was working on all sorts of things, and it had to do with sinuses and a throat infection and you know aches and pains and all sorts of things I had going on in my body that were all part and parcel of sort of this Crohn's colitis that sort of throws off a lot of other things that you really don't connect with originally. You just think there are other problems with your body, but what I noticed was they started going away with the Crohn's and colitis. Now, another very hard part that I discovered while doing the fast was tough. It was mentally tough. It was physically tough, and you'll see that in my videos. But what also was very tough and really caught me off guard was when I got to the end of the water fast and the doc said, "Yeah, you look good. I think it's healed. We're going to start you back up on some fluids and then some juices and some foods." And she said, "So, prepare yourself for the hard part." And I went, "Are you kidding me?" And she went, "No, this is going to be tough. I'm going to give you 3 pieces of lettuce and a piece of cucumber, and your digestive system's going to start back up, and it's going to be darn hungry. And the next day, I'm going to give you a glass of juice, and I'm going to give you some green peppers and some more lettuce, and we're going to slowly introduce vegetables and fruits back into your system at a very slow pace." And so at the end of the water fast, I'd already lost 40 pounds. By the time I took the other 14 days to sort of come out of the water fast and get fed or being refed, I lost another 10 pounds in the process of coming out of the water fast. And I can tell you that, having a taste and having a little bit of something to eat was definitely harder than the actual water fast itself because you wanted more, your body started crying for more. But they are very systematic about helping you kind of come off this fast so you do not stress your system. And you don't want to give your bowels a chance to, want to try to bring back the disease. You want to step it through appropriately. And they did an excellent job at that. And I suggest anybody who's going to do something like this not to do it on your own because you'll find as you go through my videos, I got an incredible education about not just the water fasting, but about nutrition and how to keep my health after I actually left the facility. So next thing is, I've absolutely changed my habits. I can't believe I've changed my habits. I never thought I'd change my habits, but it was quite easy to do after getting all of the learnings that I just talked about. I learned how to eat fresh raw foods. I learned how to make, incredible recipes that I felt that, that they were cooked, but they weren't. And so all the quality of the nutrition was left in the product. And I've learned all about, proper nutrition and what is actually making so many people sick. This facility actually cures people in stage 4 cancer by putting them on proper diets. So you can very quickly see how important, that diet and nutrition actually is. And I was watching it firsthand for almost 45 days. So very important to get all the information. Now what I have done is I collected a bunch of information while I was there in terms of recipe books, appropriate nutrition, what you need to do after you leave, the kind of equipment you're going to need. And I'm going to have it all up on this site. So after you go through these videos, you'll know what you're going to need, what it's going to cost, and all of those products I'm hoping I can make available on my site as sort of a collective group rather than have you do what I did, and that was hunt for years to kind of collect all of this information and product and, have to go through a water fast in order to understand it. And the reason I say that is I now understand that you can actually cure Crohn's and colitis without a water fast. The water fast is an accelerant. It allowed me to shut down my bowels, shut down the intestinal tract and allow it to heal and then, start to refeed. But actually, you can change your diet to the point where you can actually do this. It'll take longer, but you actually don't have to go through a water fast.
Thank you for watching my video. If you found this helpful or informative, please come to my website at www.colitisandcrohnsdisease.com, where you will also receive a free gift. Thank you.